clever pun.
Hello and welcome to a live edition of the Kongversation. It is E3. It is finally here. I'm Hyle Russell, and I am joined by two co-hosts. I don't know who wants to go first in introducing themselves.
You can go first.
You can go first.
All right, I'll do it. I'm joined by Cameron Reigle, and I am Gibbon.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. So we're going to rotate people out throughout E3, throughout these live E3 conversations. So you'll see other familiar faces pop in and pop out. And, you know, this is a bit of a throwback E3 for some of us who have been flying out for the last several years, minus last year, which didn't happen at all, because we're doing this from home. It's all digital this year. It's digital presentations, no show floor. So this is kind of like a throwback to 2014 or earlier for us. So it's going to take some time to get used to. As I was talking with Cameron and Gibbon before we started, I have this kind of fight or flight mentality kicking in the back of my brain where I feel like I have to catch the plane tomorrow. I have to fly out there. And I don't, but my body is telling me go. So, but you know, my heart says stay. So anyway, yeah, this is, it's here, Saturday, which is when this episode will go up on the usual, like Saturday morning is probably when this will go up on the usual, you know, podcast networks and YouTube and SoundCloud. You know, we already have presentations starting tomorrow, so we're in E3 now. So,
I mean, if you include the whole of the summer of gaming conglomerate, we've had presentations for a few days now.
Well, I don't, because as far as what DK Vine cares about, I mean, tomorrow's kind of a low-key day, but we have Ubisoft tomorrow, right?
That's true.
We have Ubisoft tomorrow? Question mark.
Am I
There's
missing?
some rumors and dubious leaks going around that suggest that yes, we might have Ubisoft tomorrow.
Okay, I don't know the context of this. Would you care to explain to the rest of the class?
I'm just saying question mark because it's like a 50-50 proposition. It's something we like. It's not like a Microsoft or Nintendo where there's an extremely strong chance every single year there will be something from them.
Oh, well, there was a big quote unquote leak earlier today that suggests we might be getting that rumored Mario Rabbids sequel shown tomorrow at the Ubisoft thing.
So, given the context of how the first game was known
dramatically,
we kind of got like a whole pitch presentation leaked, I think. I would not be surprised.
So, what my point, Gibbon, is that I don't know why I'm singling you out, but it's that as far as what DK Vine cares about, stuff is going to start tomorrow on the lower end. Then Sunday, we got Xbox. And then, of course, Tuesday is Nintendo. So stay tuned to DK Vine all weekend, all week long. We are going to be covering everything. We're going to be talking about everything, dissecting everything. I just tweeted or retweeted something that Nintendo of America put out about K. Rool's body odor. So something's in the air. I mean, if Nintendo of America is talking about K. Rool on their social accounts,
you can smell it coming.
In the air. Yeah. Oh, God.
You could smell it coming. Hopefully. So I think we're all kind of feeling it. I mean, even okay, we'll get into it because I'm jumping ahead to what everybody wants us to get to.
We nixed the blowing mechanic and then changed it to inhaling.
It's just gonna be Donkey. It's gonna be Swanky Kong doing a line with Snide.
Inflate yourself just like a balloon.
So anyway, dkvine.com, dkvine on Twitter, dkvine on Facebook, Joe Mudd's running the Instagram. I'll be putting stuff up on YouTube. I'm going on my bear hike tomorrow morning. I'm getting up at 4:30 in the morning to go find bears for everyone in our ludicrous Groundhog Day-esque tradition, where if I see a bear, that bodes good tidings for DK Vine and the community at E3. So, best of
Do
luck
you
to
have
me.
cicadas in Virginia, Hyle? What does that signify for this E3?
So there are there are cicadas.
What's the deal with cicadas? I've been seeing cicadas all over social media, and I don't know what people are talking about.
There are cicadas, but it's Northern Virginia, and I am hiking in the western mountains of Virginia. So no, I should evade the cicadas, the aperoids of the eastern seaboard, I guess. But yeah, anyway, I will explain cicadas to you later, Gibbon. Imagine a West Coast fire, but made of insects. That's what cicadas are.
No, I used to live on the West Coast. I know what cicadas are. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about them on social media and
there's
people eating them and stuff.
Long story short, there's a 17-year cycle in
is it time?
East Coast area.
Okay.
So now there's just, after 17 years of silence, it's just hordes upon hordes of them.
Okay. It's that time again. Gotcha.
So I won't see any cicadas, but hopefully I will see hordes and hordes of bears tomorrow. Like a whole veritable Saberman stampede of bears coming my way.
Oh, don't get my hopes up again. I need to make the Saberman Stampede thread. Thank you for reminding me.
I had to mention Saberman Stampede once. All right, so before we get into our actual predictions, I want to share a little bit of the dreams I had last night, because I've been, living E3 the last couple of days, getting everything ready for DK Vine. And I had very vivid dreams last night about 3 E3 reveals. And if I'm prescient, if I'm psychic in any way, these could actually come true. So you haven't heard these anywhere else. There are 3 E3 predictions that I dreamed about last night. 1, a ukulele animated movie by Illumination. Now, I don't know if this means they canceled the Mario movie or they're just expanding into other properties as well, but I remember a very off-model ukulele, posing and smirking on the poster when it was announced. Just Illumination presents ukulele.
Is Yuka also played by Aziz Ansari?
So the Minions people are making the Minions movie.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, God. That was my first prediction. My second prediction, the second phase of the dream, we were sitting in when I say we, I'm not sure who was there. I felt like I had a whole bunch of DK Vine people with me, but I never saw any of your faces. But we were sitting in the Microsoft Theater in Los Angeles like it was a normal E3. And they got to the Sea of Thieves fanfare played, and they announced a new ship type in Sea of Thieves, the 4th ship type in Sea of Thieves, 5th if you count the rowboats. It's called the Long Boy, and this was a ship the size of an aircraft carrier that could accommodate 100 plus pirates. They didn't specify the exact number, just 100 plus pirates. And I remember everybody was applauding for this, and I was just like, this is going to break the game. There's no way anybody can compete with an aircraft carrier.
It sounds like in order to accommodate the massive scale that this would require, the entire Sea of Thieves would have to be it revealed in a grand finale to be the Long Boy.
He just zooms back. Yeah. So that was my second one. My third one also involved Rare and Sea of Thieves. It was where they partnered with an unnamed fast food restaurant. I think it was supposed to be Wendy's, but my dream never clarified for me what it was. To create this food product, this limited time food product, where they take Sea of Thieves characters' heads and they recreate them as little bacon balls on sticks. And I remember seeing...
this sounds like a Wendy's thing.
Yeah, I remember seeing...
Yeah, Wendy's is super hardcore on the bacon.
I remember seeing Ramsay and Flameheart, among others, distinctively made out of bacon, too. And they were called Bacon Heads. All one word with a Z on the end. Bacon Heads.
I could see Grey Marrow's beard made with bacon.
So-
bacon heart.
It gets better. There were 32 of them to collect/consume.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Each bacon heads came with an exclusive in-game code to unlock a cosmetic you couldn't get anywhere else.
Oh, it would too.
And I complained on I remember like Dream Me was complaining on Twitter that I was specifically coming from the vantage point as a vegetarian. I was saying, hey, this is unfair to vegetarians or vegans or people with a kosher diet or a halal diet. And so Rare's account then responded to me tweeting a picture of like the entire studio slaughtering a giant pig together. And it was like the whole studio around this pig. I remember, I think Craig Duncan covered in blood, and the blood was also shooting out of the pig's neck. So bacon heads is my third dream prediction.
Hell. And that's why WizPig's never reappearing in another
So this
game.
this just sounds like Rare doing a Yesterday and Today album cover.
Thanks for the third consecutive episode with Beatles references, Cameron.
Flame broiled heart.
So this is where my subconscious mind is at right now, concocting possible E3 reveals. We're going to scale back, and we're going to get serious now with our actual
That's
reveals.
a lie.
But I want to give a real quick shout out to everyone in the live stream. We got a nice crowd. I see Dre is in there. Big Time Spooky is in there. Bleatin' Mad 1917, Little Green Bastard, G-Mancer, who is complaining that Jeff is in here because Jeff owes G-Mancer money. Jeff is at his brother's wedding, G-Mancer. Give Ray Day Pinball is in there, just Andre. I'm just reading names now. Doluigi. I'm sorry when it's all. I can read bacon heads as one word. It's hard for me when it's all compound names in lowercase. Jeffrin Perez is there. Luigi Socks in Portuguese. Okay, thank you. Anyway,
Little Green Bastard, Dustin.
Yeah, so I'll keep checking in on
Those
the
are
live
two
stream.
separate people, by the way.
Yeah.
We're not calling Dustin a Little Green Bastard.
There are a couple Dustins in the community, so there might even be a couple Dustins in there. For all we know. So anyway, hello. We'll keep checking in throughout the live stream. Let's get to our predictions, I say as I close my show notes.
Hyle is on top.
Oh, also, Sean is in the chat. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sean. E3 Sean takes you back to the old times. So let's get going. Let's start with Platonic, because I feel like this is an easy one. Are we going to get anything from Platonic this year? No, we're not.
I hope this is the first thing Hyle gets wrong.
All right, so I don't think we're going to get anything from Platonic because I feel like Platonic would have definitely hinted that it was coming by now, and we haven't gotten anything. Their account as of like 90 minutes ago simply tweeted. Pretty sure this was Daily getting back on the account. Vend me a venti vendi, and that was their sole tweet. Actually, almost 2 hours ago now. And so I replied to it and I said, I knew you'd come through with an E3 2021 announcement. And then Daly said, I didn't want to let you down. So I think they don't have anything planned to show. I think the pandemic, forced them all to work from home. I don't think they're ready. I think this year was more or less about getting their publishing wing up and running.
So I shouldn't take that tweet as confirming a cafe-themed visual novel where you play as Vendi.
No, I don't think you should, Cameron, although I appreciate your enthusiasm. I think
SpongeBob, write that down,
That pitch is free.
I feel like we are looking at nothing from Platonic, at least as far as E3 goes. Maybe later in the year, because E3 is not the be all end all of video game news. I know a lot of people think it is, and it is, gaming, insert religious holiday here in June for all of us. I get that, but there's 51 other weeks of the year where you have announcements, you have reveals. So I'm not saying write Playtonic off for the rest of 2021. I'm just saying E3 wasn't in the cards for them this year. And I'm okay with that. I
think E3 isn't going to be in the cards for a lot more than just Playtonic.
Yeah,
so
I'm
nothing to doomsay about.
I'm still enjoying Impossible Lair. I'm still trying to beat the actual Impossible Lair without, any bees, and I just can't do it. But I'm trying, so it's fine. We'll keep Playtonic in our hearts though as we go throughout the week. We'll carry all of their beloved characters with us and bring them up when we can to make them feel like they're part of the festivities at the very least. Unless anybody else has any other things to say about Playtonic, I think we can just move on. All right, we'll just move on then.
I suppose.
All right. So moving forward, I'm going to table Ubisoft discussion for when we get to Nintendo, even though in the chronology of E3 that's coming first. Let's move to Sunday and Xbox. Now, this is kind of a blank slate for me as far as Rare goes, because honestly, I would be surprised. Bacon heads aside, I would be surprised if Sea of Thieves had much of a presence, except in your usual montages.
I would say that, except there was somebody said something about, specifically called out Sea of Thieves as being at the show and saying they usually have something big to show at these. They may have been talking out of their ass, but Sea of Thieves was specifically called out.
So, here's kind of how I'm feeling about that. I feel like in a normal E3, Sea of Thieves would have if this was a normal physically at E3, Sea of Thieves would have a presence and it would have some form of announcement, but it would have reduced showing physically at the show. But since that's not a factor this year in the slightest, I could still see them having something sort of like what happened with the the Cursed Sails Forsaken Shores dual update, where it was just a trailer of new content coming. I could see something like that happening.
The thing is, the game is moving along at such a steady, reliable clip now, using some sailing terminology. I don't think there is much to bring to E3 when it was still 3 months old. They did the Cursed Sails, Forsaken Shores trailer, but it's been over 3 years now, and That's crazy. I would say, absent anything absolutely huge, like another massive update similar to the anniversary update, or a new region to the game, like the Devil's Roar, they just won't bother. They're still going to, incorporate it in their, this is Xbox montages, because it's an important pillar. But I think given the nature of what E3 is this year, Cameron's right, we probably won't hear anything from it. Now, that being said, Rare was awfully quiet on social media today, and I'm just like, it's because you all have to work on Sunday, right? So I don't know.
I think it could be also a situation like what we experienced in 2019, where Sea of Thieves was not in the proper big stage show presentation, but there was Sea of Thieves news in the E3 rollout. They just saved they announced the Master Chief ship figurehead on Inside Xbox. So whether I expect we'll see some form of Sea of Thieves news. I just don't know how quote unquote huge and big deal it's going to be.
Yeah,
true.
Especially with a suspicious thing I've noticed going on in game that I won't go to.
Right. That stuff.
There could be hints of it, and it might not even be wrapped up in the actual Xbox showings. It could just be independent, Rare's team, Rare's social media team, the Sea of Thieves team. They just have this, like, oh, we're going to use this time when everybody's focusing on game news to announce what's coming next in the game. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. That's great. And I'm looking forward to it. It's also just Sea of Thieves gets updates all the time. So it's not really feeling like, is it worthy of an E3 announcement, or is it just business as usual? And that sounds salty, or that sounds dismissive, and it shouldn't, because
it's worthy of a second week in June announcement.
Like I said, I'm not even fussed about really Rare at these things anymore, because I'm getting a living, breathing Rare game that I play every week. So it's not like I'm really jonesing for a new game announcement, because, at least ahead of time, because, hey, I'm content, but anyway, that's Sea of Thieves. I think more people are wondering if Everwild will be present at the show at all.
Good question.
I don't actually think so.
Yeah, that's so. Full disclosure, I sat down with our good friend Mitchell Wolfe, who could not be here on this episode. He'll be joining us live in the studio, whatever that means, on Tuesday for the Nintendo episode, but he couldn't be here, but he did want to give his previews. So Mitchell and I sat down for 30 minutes and we had a chat, and I will be dropping that into the episode in just a little bit here. But Mitchell, I think, concurs that we're not going to see Everwild this year. You, Gibbon, concur that we're not going to see Everwild this year. Cameron, what do you think?
I think, as with how I've always felt about Everwild, I do not have my finger on the pulse of that at all.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to Everwild. Yeah. I just feel like I just don't have a good read on it. And I think, again, with the nature of the format of E3 this year, like, nobody, even if the game was like, hey, we're at a point where we can do a hands-on and like have people sit and figure out what this is, finally, there's not really an environment that's facilitating that right now.
Yeah, like if we see,
not to mention the development realities that would have been set back.
Yeah. I feel like if we see anything from Everwild, it's just going to be like a third or fourth, whatever number we're up to, semi-cinematic trailer where it's not really clear what's going on and it just looks pretty.
Yeah, I could see that, and then I could also see them, since it's this is also a joint production, Bethesda is getting a lot of screen time. I could just see them not bothering if there's really nothing more to say except continuing the vague hype for it. So,
I don't know. I was talking with some folks the other day saying how I was excited to see if Arcane is going to be showing off anything, because I'm a big fan of that studio and they are under the Bethesda label. And it was pointed out that pretty much everything they have in development likely wouldn't be shown off at this show because they're coming out on like Sony and stuff. Like Deathloop, where Arcane's big title, is like a timed PlayStation exclusive because it was far into development before the buyout happened. And I feel like that's going to be the case. Sorry, you can't just say
the buyout and expect me to like think of another buyout that occurred with Xbox.
I'm still salty about the Doctor Who stuff in the 90s too. But anyway, I feel like a lot of the stuff under the Bethesda banner that was already in development was kind of committed to other platforms and wouldn't necessarily be shown at the Xbox thing. And the stuff that wasn't is stuff like the next Elder Scrolls, which is they pulled a Metroid Prime 4 and gave us a title logo, and that was it. So if they have anything to show, it's going to be a like, yeah, we're still working on it sort of thing. So I don't really know how much time Bethesda's going to get at this show realistically.
Okay, so would you think Everwild's going to get any time? You said no, but now you're talking.
I said No, I don't think Everwild is
Okay.
really going to have much, if any, presence there. I just also don't think Bethesda's really going to have much substance. I'm not sure what they'd show here that's not going to be promoting other platforms as well.
Yeah.
You know?
It's weird they're doing the co-branding then.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, like, I feel like it's an all or nothing with Bethesda because, well, not literally all, because as you said, there's some things that just would not make sense to show at a Microsoft presentation. But of all the studios and publishers Microsoft has acquired, Bethesda is like the giant umbrella company onto itself with. Like I could just say like Wolfenstein, Doom, Fallout, Elder Scrolls. Like if even one of those targets is hit, that's a hefty chunk of your presentation time.
That's true. I could see them doing like, hey, what's next for Doom or something now that the first round of Eternal DLC is sort of wrapping up.
But at the same time, a lot of their big stuff and their big franchises hit like tail end of like 2019-ish. So considering the pandemic, I don't know if they would have gotten far enough along with any like big brand new project to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The co-branding's weird, as you say,
So
because like they're either in between stuff or stuff's about to come out on other platforms. So
Well,
yeah.
I don't think we'll see Everwild there. So
Yeah.
I would be happy to be wrong because I want to know more about it, but I think and this is going to be something we will go back to again and again. It's going to be a common refrain. The pandemic was a thing last year. Everybody was working from home, and I think a title like Everwild would really be hurt by it. And so I don't mind waiting a little bit longer to get anything more concrete about it.
Which is honestly true for me of everything I'm anticipating.
Yeah. Yeah, like at this E3, I'm really trying to walk in with as little expectations as possible, which is kind of hard to do when the entire Donkey Kong corner of your fandom is running around with their hair on fire. But whatever.
I'm already tired of it.
You're getting tired of it now. Just wait until whatever happens on Tuesday happens. Perfect Dark. Now, this isn't DKU per se, at least to our knowledge. It could be like a Battletoads 2020 situation where that particular game becomes DKU. But Perfect Dark, of course, got revealed last year. It just kind of a teaser trailer. I think Perfect Dark we have better odds of seeing at E3 in some sort of more like playable iteration. Playable, whatever playable means at this E3, but you know what I mean. Like we'll actually see gameplay.
Like say seeing actual gameplay footage as opposed to the cinematic trailer from the Game Awards.
Yeah. So I would say Perfect Dark would be out of like the three known Rare IP titles, even though this isn't made by Rare. I would say Perfect Dark would be the one I would be most expecting to see.
I genuinely don't know what to expect with Perfect Dark because it all depends on like the trailer we saw at the Game Awards was entirely cinematic, but it was very elaborate for what it was. Like it wasn't just like a logo drop. And there were like they didn't show a single bit of gameplay footage, but there were in-depth interviews with the devs working on it. There was concept art that surfaced. So I really don't have a good read on what they didn't show at the Game Awards. Was that because they weren't quite ready to show anything, or was it because they were playing everything very close to the chest until they got to this sort of stage? And I really don't know whether it's one or the other. And I mean, I would love to see more of Perfect Dark because I think it's maybe the like Xbox Studios game I'm most excited to learn. Upcoming Xbox Studios game I'm most excited to learn more about. But if there's nothing, I will accept the reality that times be tough.
That's what they should call the new Time Splitters game, is Times Be Tough. It's the subtitle. No? Just me? Okay. Outside the box predictions. I have to bring it up. Don't get mad at me. I have to bring it up. It's the Kongversation. People will expect us to at least broach the topic. Banjo-Kazooie. Now, let me give my thoughts on Banjo-Kazooie really quick, and then we can all just move on.
That's your thought.
No, I don't. I don't really think it's a possibility. However, had there been no coronavirus and no worldwide shutdown, I would be toying with it a bit more. Yes, I said I would be toying with it a bit more, because here's the thing. If another studio came forward to Rare and Xbox Studios with a pitch that just sung and it just made their hearts aflutter, I would think it would have been the time to get started on it, given the renewed interest in Banjo and Kazooie thanks to Smash, and because there's this whole resurgence of certain 90s platforming icons and mascots. So even though the current direction of Rare doesn't really have room for Banjo and Kazooie, of course they're keen to revisit their IPs if they've got a good pitch. And I would think the stars would have maybe aligned for this E3 had COVID not been a thing for the last 15 months. So that's my weaselly, hey, we could have maybe seen it, and we could be talking about this more seriously kind of answer to all of this. But no, I don't think we'll see Banjo-Kazooie at this E3. I would love to hear what you two have to think, though.
I don't know. Banjo-Kazooie remakes or remasters. I
didn't say anything about a remake.
Thing,
okay. Time out.
Or what have you. I just, it feels like one of those things people have been clamoring about, but I don't really feel like any industry people have been talking about. It seems purely like a fan campaign on Twitter sort of thing.
Okay,
seeing more Banjo.
I didn't say anything about a remake.
I know.
Okay.
I said remakes or remasters or new games or what have you.
Okay.
Before you immediately tried to cut me off.
No Banjo Redooey, and from my book, this would be a new game. And I don't know. Doing a 3D platformer is tough. Doing a 3D platformer without a large enough budget to accommodate it is tough. So that's what's kind of, I think, holding it back. But hope springs eternal. I still think there's really no need for a Banjo Redooey or whatever the fans are calling it. I think the XBLA versions, for as antiquated as they look, they're the definitive versions of Banjo and Kazooie as far as Xbox is concerned.
Disagree, because they have so many issues.
I said as far as Xbox is concerned. As far as Microsoft is concerned.
Xbox should be concerned.
Okay. All right. But now, that's not to say it's not impossible. Maybe they would gauge interest in a new game by just fine, we'll do fucking remasters or whatever. We'll do a remake, whatever. But I feel like this is, I don't know what the interest is in getting remakes. I don't know why that's. I think it's just because we always how Crash did it, but
as much as I love the Crash and Spyro remakes and stuff, they've kind of poisoned the well as far as people's expectations for these sorts of things.
Sure, and I think that for me, I have no interest in a remake of the Donkey Kong Country trilogy or any of this because I like the originals. The originals are fine, and all remakes are going to do is make me compare them with the originals and find fault. And I would much rather just have a new experience that's uniquely that experience rather than revisit well-worn territory. But that's my Cameron. What do you think?
I really just don't expect it to be the time for it.
because of COVID. But if it wasn't for COVID, absolutely, we would be knee deep in Banjo-Kazooie at this E3. 6 games. 6 games.
Well, I'm not saying that. I just mean specifically for remakes, I just don't see the timeline where that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a timeline where Grunty doesn't get rescued by her sisters, and that's where it happens.
Yeah, I don't really know. I just feel like it's something we could see in the future, but I wouldn't, like, I think there might have been this renewed push to actively do something with the Banjo-Kazooie IP in light of Smash and the like high profile that had, but I don't think it's something we'd see tangible consequences of here and now.
Yeah. I got a great idea for a teaser trailer if that's all they had, though. Imagine Banjo and Kazooie, they're like trying to get through this door, and then they enter, and we see Spiral Mountain in Glorious HD, and they go running out towards a Jiggy, and it just says Banjo is back. Could you imagine how excited people would be?
I don't know. It seems a bit on the nose to me.
So no, I think none of us really expect Banjo and Kazooie, but hey, you know, I remember, what was it, E3 2014? That we saw Conker appear in the Project Spark trailer, and it was just like, what? What am I seeing right now?
Yeah, fair.
So it's not like we haven't been surprised before, just out of nowhere.
That's true.
Oh yeah, and I would say like my comments about like I don't think anything is happening with Banjo-Kazooie were specifically like, I don't expect a dedicated Banjo-Kazooie game. I could see them cropping up in something else out of absolutely nowhere, like with Project Spark.
Mario plus
True.
Rabbids, right.
Mario plus Rabbids with Banjo-Kazooie.
You know what? I would be totally down for that. Grant Kirkhope comes back. I mean, the stars would align, right? That's the perfect way to do it.
If there is another Mario plus Rabbids, I hope they just make the name convention into like long division.
Oh, getting all Kingdom Hearts up in here.
Okay, well, at this point in the episode, we're going to take a brief detour with our good friend Mitchell Wolfe for what I called the Mitchell Minute, but turned into the Mitchell Half Hour of power. So
you're getting 30 Mitchell minutes for the price of one.
Yeah,
oh,
so
God.
Here we go. Hi, and welcome to the Mitchell Minute. This impromptu thing we decided to do with our good friend Mitchell Wolfe, who is apparently a long-haul trucker, and is going to be on the road all weekend. Hi, Mitchell.
Hey, I'm so excited to take a brief break from my long-haul trucking to sit down at a computer with this newfangled internet thing they got growing out here these days and talk to my good friend Hyle about our E3 predictions.
Yeah, what are you hauling these days? Is it internet? Are you hauling the internet? Are you the tubes that make it work?
Yeah, you see, I am bringing internet to different people's houses, but the company won't let me have any. Like, I have to buy it like everyone else. So I haven't been on it.
Okay. All right. Well, just watch out for the Smokey, or is it the Bandit? I don't know. I'm not up on my 70s trucker lingo and or Burt Reynolds movies to really make that joke work. So you're here on this Mitchell Minute to discuss your predictions, your E3 predictions, because we've been sharing them in the middle of this episode, and probably at the beginning and probably near the end. And now we're dropping your predictions in here. What you think we're going to see at this odd E3 2021 that we're all experiencing from home, from the discomfort of home. So what do you think? A lot of people have some crazy notions. And a lot of that, I think, is pent up because of the pandemic. We've been sans E3 for 2 years now. So people are just putting everything they could possibly imagine onto this show, which means it's going to disappoint, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not fair for all the people involved in the developer side of things. It's not fair to expect that of them. But at the same time, if you are a company like Nintendo and you flat out skip a year, you don't even put a mini in June of 2020, like, you're gonna have that. I can't feel that bad for you if you escalate tensions on your own accord so willingly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to temper expectations, obviously. I had a kind of a PR firestorm a couple weeks back when all the rumors for the Donkey Kong stuff kind of exploded into the general gaming populace. So
right, congratulations on all those clicks you must have been getting, though.
You know, my exact nightmare scenario happened. So I feel like it's only uphill from here, right? I can't, like, it's going to be like a bandage. Like when that Donkey Kong game doesn't get announced on Tuesday, it's just like, all right, that hurt. All right, now we can move on.
Yeah, I was listening to one of my favorite, like, gaming news podcasts, the Easy Allies podcast, and the people that I talk about Easy Allies with and the people I talk about DK Vine with are mostly completely separate. So imagine my surprise when Michael Damiani of the Easy Allies references a rumor coming out of DK Vine's Hyle Russell.
Oh God! Oh my God! Oh, I've got flop sweat now, Mitchell. Well, I don't really care about the rumors coming out of me, allegedly. I want to know the rumors coming out of your face.
Oh, okay.
So, what do you think? As far as what the DK Vine audience is interested in, do you think it's going to be a bountiful year, or do you think the fields need another season for the plant? I can't do farming analogies either. I'm terrible at this.
Let's start with Rare. Let's start with Rare, because I think of the areas that we're going to cover, they are probably going to be the lighter of them this year, which is fine. You know, the game industry works in ebbs and flows, and this might be which one's the low one of an ebb and a flow?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm going to pretend it's an ebb. I'm going to say the ebb is the low one. This might be an ebb for Rare right now. They did just come out with Battletoads last year, and on the horizon we see Everwild, but I would be surprised actually to see more Everwild right now. I'm going to make what might be a bold prediction and say that there's not going to be an Everwild trailer this year at E3.
Okay.
Disappointing. I would love to be proven wrong there. And Sea of Thieves, I imagine it'll be sort of quiet. I mean, there's always the potential for, like, new ship themes, especially with all the Bethesda stuff. Get a Doom one, get an Elder Scrolls one, get a Fallout one. You know, all of the Bethesda, Wolfenstein, which is one of my favorite video game franchises, if only because the first 5 letters are my last name. But I don't expect to see anything crazy from either Sea of Thieves or Everwild, and I also don't expect to see a third Rare developed game at all this year.
I mean, it would be a fourth Rare IP, considering Perfect Dark was announced, although that is hands off with Rare's involvement. So, you know, I'm trying to keep my options open as far as what I'm hoping for, because they could surprise us. You kind of get a feeling sometimes going into these things, right? And I just feel like, considering, you know, Rare has got a pretty steady thing going with Sea of Thieves. They're working on Everwild, but everybody's been working at home.
Yeah, you know, every studio works from home differently. They tackled that monumental shift in human culture in a different way. For example, when I was at Vicarious Visions last summer with the Tony Hawk people, I got the feeling that they're just like so avid about what they were working on. They didn't slow down at all. But if they did, I wouldn't have blamed them at all. I have no idea how Rare's culture was going through the quarantine, but I'm just going to give them the safe assumption, which is that they probably maybe slowed down a little bit, which is totally understandable. I feel that as the general like 90s Rare fan base, get up in age a little bit, the wait between games actually feels about the same. It does. In real terms, it's like 5 times longer than it was at the time. But in just how it feels, a 2-year wait between Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie is maybe going to equal out to about a 5-year, 6-year wait between Sea of Thieves and Everwild. Maybe. If they want to be really impressive, they want to show off what they got, then I think they could show more Everwild. But Perfect Dark, as you alluded to earlier, I think has a greater chance of being shown this summer. I have no idea why I feel that way. I just think they had a
preview of it, and that's all it was a preview. So I think that would have the most substantial bits to really show off if they wanted to show it off at this E3.
Yeah, I think so too. In terms of other Rare IP that other Xbox studios could tackle, everyone, just because it's E3 time, we have to bring it up. Banjo? Answer? No, probably not. Only time will tell. But sure, it has to eventually happen. All things do. That said, I really don't think it'll be this year. The problem with Banjo, and why I can't just assume that like such a smart idea of a game to make right now would be being made right now, is because unlike Battletoads, you really can't do a scaled back version of it. You can't make it a budget game. Not that Battletoads is budgeted in any kind of quality, but it's a small team. It definitely didn't have the amount of resources that went into something like Sea of Thieves or Everwild or the new Perfect Dark, especially, which seems like it's going to be like a pentuple A game with a $1 billion budget. Yeah, so no. What you might see, here's a left field prediction. Right. I think maybe it's about time for Killer Instinct 4.
Yeah, that's been surprisingly absent, considering how big the Killer Instinct revival was. Almost a decade ago. I don't even remember when it came out.
Yeah, it came out with the Xbox One launch, which was 2013, right? So 8 years ago.
Getting close. But yeah, I think that's a solid prediction, Mitchell. And I think that it would be one that would be warmly welcomed, considering how well received the last Killer Instinct 3, or whatever you want to define it as. That definitely pleased longtime fans and made some new fans. So,
you want a much stupider prediction about it?
Yeah.
So, because there was a Killer Instinct game called Killer Instinct Gold, and this Killer Instinct, if it maintains the same developer, which I think it is likely to, would be developed by Iron Galaxy. You could call it Killer Instinct Iron, a different metal.
That is very stupid. You weren't wrong there. I'm glad one of your predictions came true.
Yeah, of all the predictions, I've been pretty safe so far, but this is the one that's actually going to be right. Everything else I've been wrong about. Yeah, Xbox in general, it's sort of a boring year to guess for Xbox, because I'm sure there will be surprises. There always are, but the heavy hitters are kind of accounted for right now. The show is going to be mostly about Halo Infinite and Starfield. Those are the two big boys of the Xbox presentation this year.
I mean, obviously we're going to see those, yeah, but I feel like every time people like say, well, the show's going to be about it, there's always surprises. There's always...
Oh, for sure. There's always going to be surprises, but also if the thing you were expecting was going to be like a pretty big thing, like I think a Banjo game really would be a pretty big thing, whereas a Killer Instinct is maybe smaller, and I don't know. Halo Infinite and Starfield are going to take the lion's share of what Microsoft wants to support right now. Starfield is, Bethesda's trying to prop it up as just as big of a Western RPG as Fallout or Elder Scrolls, except that it's a new IP. And I think that it'll be weird being another space thing with Halo, but sure. The other thing that I think is very likely that we're going to not just get information out of, but a release out of, is Psychonauts 2. It's imminent. You can already download it. You can like pre-download it on an Xbox right now. But the release date hasn't been announced. I am predicting that they are going to shadow drop Psychonauts 2. They're going to say, and we're announcing the release date. It's right now. That's what they're going to do with Psychonauts, which is another reason I think you wouldn't do Banjo right now, because Psychonauts 2 is a very similar sort of vibe and fan base, that same demographic that you would probably reach mostly. So you won't see that.
I think they're going to shadow drop Banjo-Kazooie. I think we're both wrong.
Banjo-Kazooie 1?
No, a new Banjo-Kazooie game. They're going to shadow drop it. Guess what? We've been working on this for 7 years.
Yeah, it's who'd develop it?
They license it out to Nintendo EPD, and everybody has been completely wrong about everything.
Speaking of Nintendo, that pretty much rounds out my Xbox predictions, unless you have any other questions.
I think that sums it up. Nintendo, Mitchell, which you might actually be joining us for our Nintendo conversation. So, we'll be able to really pick your brain about what we actually see when it's announced. But
right.
Ahead of time, what do you think we'll be picking your brain about when it's announced?
Well, there's some rumors out there, Hyle. I don't know if you've known about this.
Oh.
Yeah. So, the rumor about a new Donkey Kong game happening. It shouldn't have to be that surprising that a new Donkey Kong game happening is a big deal. Even though,
yeah.
like, we
can I just speak to this really quick? I think it's
Sure.
surprising to a lot of people, because the people who traditionally chase Nintendo rumors in the broader gaming sphere, the broader media, the broader fan bases, they don't usually think of Donkey Kong as that big scintillating rumor that really drives clicks and engagements. So, even though Nintendo's always had something in the works for Donkey Kong going back to 1993, I don't know why it's surprising to people that this could be a thing, but apparently it is. So,
well, I think the surprising bit is that they've moved it internally, which is, to be fair, pretty unprecedented in modern times. In the Rare era, we had a studio working on Donkey Kong that was producing very high quality, very popular stuff at a very fast frequency, and we will never see that again. It's just the reality of the situation.
It's the reality of modern game development. I mean,
yeah, sure. We've had to choose: do you want frequency or do you want like really high quality and popularity? And the buyout era still had the frequency, and the retro era had the popularity, but we're bone dry in terms of releases. So I'm just hoping that whatever this is, it A, feels big, and B, is the start of something new. If not a team entirely developed or designated with Donkey Kong, at least a team whose like one of their main things they do is Donkey Kong. Because even the Mario Kart team will still sometimes make arms, which is allowed. You're allowed to make arms. But a team like that, if it exists, especially if the rumors are true and that it's a splinter of EPD 8, which is specifically the Tokyo office, that would be fantastic. They are probably my favorite team within the EPD right now. So if EPD 8 splits into one group that keeps doing the 3D Mario and then another that keeps doing the Donkey Kong, I think that's a pretty high success. I think that's pretty great. for Donkey Kong.
It's all well and good, Mitchell, but you haven't answered the question. Do you think we'll see it at this E3?
I do.
You do? Whoa.
I do.
Everybody, stop the presses. The rumor is coming from Mitchell Wolfe, not Hyle Russell. Hyle Russell's out here trying to put out the fires left and right, saying, no, don't expect to see it at E3. Nobody get their hopes up. Oh, God. But no, you think we'll see it. Would you care to speak to that at all, or just drop the mic and walk away now?
Yeah, sometimes realists also get to be optimists. It's not often. It's not often these days, but it does seem very likely. It seems like the time for it. None of the rumors that have come out have actually related that this E3 is the time for it. So, this wouldn't be based on any rumors, but just it feels right. It feels like the right thing right now. We have a pretty good short list of things that we can probably expect at Nintendo. Like Xbox, I'm not expecting a lot of huge surprises, actually. I mean, other than things that we're already talking about. Because we're talking about a Kirby game. It's very likely that Kirby's going to come out from
Kirby
this E3.
always has something.
Yeah, Kirby. Well, the last Kirby game that was announced 4 years ago at E3 2017. So it's actually been a little chunk of change. It's been some time.
All right. Let me tell you when the last Donkey Kong game was announced, Mitchell.
Yeah, you need to tell me that. I've been here the whole time. But
the F-Zero fans are over here scowling at me for making that statement. It's like, oh yeah, you want to play that game, buddy? All right.
Oh yeah, when there's a diehard F-Zero fan in the room, no one can say any words. You just have to let them talk about their struggles.
And then meanwhile, the Earthbound fans are standing next to them.
I'd say F-Zero technically is doing better than Earthbound.
Yeah.
Earthbound has been unreleased. Like they put it on the Wii U Virtual Console and then they put Super Nintendo games on the Switch and they were like, not Earthbound though. Let's undo that one.
That's what I'm saying. As much as I can play the oh woe's me game as a Donkey Kong fan, I know we've got it pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah. So the Kirby game, people are saying that one's 3D. That one's a 3D platformer. I've been saying Zelda 2, which I think is just a fun thing that I get to do to confuse people who don't know what I'm talking about. But Breath of the Wild 2, the sequel to Breath of the Wild.
They're actually going to call it Killer Instinct, Mitchell.
I've been thinking of a bunch of fun names, subtitles for Breath of the Wild 2, because I'm sure they're not going to call it that. And it just, The Legend of Zelda, A Goron is Angry is my current front runner for what they should call it. And it should be about a Goron being mad. But that's going to be the front runner. That's definitely the most anticipated game that Nintendo's got going on right now. The question is whether or not it's 2021 or 2022. Because if it's 2021, it's the holiday title. And if it's the holiday title, then Donkey Kong doesn't need to be right now.
No.
And it can be next year instead. I think these two games, the Donkey Kong game, the Zelda game, they could go back and forth. One of them, I could believe either of them are the November holiday title, and then the other one comes out in like March of 2022.
Well, Pokemon's in November, so I feel like this would be October or December.
Pokemon can come out at the same time. Pokemon actually frequently comes out at the same time as Nintendo's other stuff. The thing with Pokemon is that this year is probably the least of the holiday Pokemon titles that have come out for the last, very long time. This might be one of the weakest fighters in terms of the release schedule. It's a remake of Generation 4 of Pokemon, which was already... It definitely has its diehard fans. Our forum moderator, Ape, Andrew, is a diehard Gen 4 Diamond and Pearl Pokemon fan. But I think in general, it's not seen as like one of the big ones. And I don't think that these Pokemon remakes are going to be that big of a deal. I mean, they're gonna make millions and millions of dollars. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They will be millionaire unit sales. They'll probably even reach 10 million units combined, because that's just what Pokemon does. But it's not Sword and Shield. It's not the new Pokemon generation. It's not even Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, because that one was a special Gen 1 thing again. This is just gonna be one of them. And it will not be the November game, even though it is in November.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, Pokemon is really, I mean, it's Nintendo, but it's also its own pop culture monster. It's not really, it's part of it, but it's not really part of it.
Yeah, when it has a new generation, that's a full new step, like Sword and Shield was, or like Sun and Moon before it on the 3DS, then it can be part of this larger conversation. If it's a different sort of gameplay style, which Pokemon Legends Arceus is, that looks like a full 3D adventure game, then we can talk about that too, because that's coming out in February, and that looks like a major tentpole release. So I would imagine that they wouldn't want to put Breath of the Wild 2, which looks like a very similar gameplay sort of thing, very close to that. So I'm tentatively saying that my prediction is Breath of the Wild 2 actually is the holiday title this year. If the Donkey Kong thing exists and it's announced at this E3, it would be a March of 2022 title. That's my specific bullshit, no reason for having the opinion prediction.
No, you heard Mitchell. Start calling GameStop now. What about Splatoon 3? Because that's the other big Nintendo title that people, I guess Metroid Prime 4.
They're all sort of in different situations. I think Bayonetta 3 is another one that's sort of in that camp that we've been hearing about for a while, and it could be now. No More Heroes 3 is finally coming this August, so it's finally a little bit out of the way compared to those other ones. In the case of Splatoon 3, I could imagine this being the kind of game that they announce, and then the next big Nintendo Direct, it actually doesn't show up at all, because it's still not time to talk about it. Splatoon 3 did itself a favor by, even though it was announced in January of this year, it said, not even this year. It told us as soon as we found out it's 2022. So I think that we could just not see it, and that would be fine. I'm actually thinking we won't see it.
I feel like that is the smart take, and I don't know. I feel like people are just limited in how crazy they're willing to get with their predictions. So they know Splatoon 3 is a thing, and so they're just banking on seeing more about Splatoon 3. It's like they feel like Nintendo can't multitask or something. I don't know, but I completely agree with that. I think it's too early. I think it's unnecessary to see anything about Splatoon 3 at this E3.
I think that the thing about Splatoon 3 as well is that both Splatoon 1 and 2, and I know this is a pattern of 2, which is not a strong pattern, but Splatoon 1 and 2 have been summer titles, and the series is so intertwined with feelings of summer for me that I have a hard time believing that it'll even be early next year. I think it'll be summer next year, mid 2022. So we really do have some time before that game comes out. We don't need to be on the E3 bandwagon, although this would clearly not be the first time that Nintendo talks about something at E3 way too early. So it's possible. I think it's very possible. My current take is that Splatoon 3 is skipping this E3 cycle. Prime 4, I don't think it's even a game yet. If we can be real about it, I don't even think it's a video game. Yeah. I bet they're making progress, but I don't think it's ready to show.
Yeah, wow, because when did they announce that Retro was taking it over? That was
it actually a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, someone on Twitter posted, it's been exactly the same amount of time from between when Prime 4 was first announced to when it was announced that they're changing to Retro, as the time when they're changing to Retro to then. So,
ow.
Yeah, they've had a long time. I just don't think it's time. That said, there are other rumors that there's a 2D Metroid game in the works by the people that made that 3DS 2D Metroid game. And I actually think we're very likely to see that. I think it'll be a guy in front of a screen saying, "We know you're excited for Prime 4. That said, we don't really want to do that right now. So please take a look at Metroid Mercury Steam did it." So then they'll show us that, and that'll probably be great, actually. But it won't be Prime 4, and it'll be viewed probably as a smaller, at least in terms of the scope of how exciting the announcement is, a smaller announcement. I think I'm looking at like who I think is really, which games are really going to like grab the spotlight. Obviously Zelda, and I think Donkey Kong. I think those are the two highest. And then a lot of like really high end, not filler content by any stretch, but like other like great supporters. Bayonetta 3 maybe, the Kirby game maybe, the 2D Metroid game maybe, the No More Heroes is coming out soon. Shin Megami Tensei 5, that was another 2017 announcement that's just still not materialized, but we think that maybe now is the time. And here's this other one. My last Nintendo prediction that I have is Mario plus Rabbids 2. I think it's time for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nobody is predicting that.
Is that true? I haven't really looked around on that.
I don't know. I've been hiding away for the past couple of weeks. But yeah, I mean, that sounds like a very Mitchell Wolfe prediction, because I think you would be the first person to No, because you're thinking outside the box and you're looking at historical patterns versus just this bubble of, well, this is what Nintendo's going to show because this is what Nintendo has shown or promised to show, or this is what I want Nintendo to show. I think, there's always surprises in there. There's always outside the box things like the first Mario plus Rabbids where you're like, what? What is this? So yeah, absolutely. There's room for a sequel. And I think the first one was well received and did well enough, that why wouldn't Ubisoft, pursue a sequel?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of internet people, like talk about these games that are happening in a really weird way. At least it's weird to me, because it feels like we are not understanding the fact that time really is moving much faster for us older folk. Because games like the 3D Mario game that's going to be whenever it happens, it's the successor to Mario Odyssey. It feels, in my heart, it feels too early for it.
Yeah.
But it has been 4 years since Odyssey. So it isn't. Like, that's actually pretty long for a mainline Mario game. Not that I'm actually predicting that, but like Mario and Rabbids was 4 years ago. If Zelda 2 comes out in March instead of November, like I'm predicting, it will be the 5th anniversary of Breath of the Wild 1. That's 5 years. And these things feel very recent, but they're not. And you got to think of the development cycle minus 1 year for global accidents. But yeah, you got to think about the development cycle in that way.
Worldwide oopsies.
Yeah, oops all coronas.
We'll see how well your predictions fare when you get back from your trucking, and we'll all have a good laugh about how right you were about absolutely everything on Tuesday.
Well, I'll leave you with one general prediction for some time during the E3 cycle, from the beginning to the end of it. I don't know when. Maybe it's in the treehouse. Maybe it's not even in a presentation at all. Wario will fart.
All right. Well, we'll see Mitchell again on Tuesday. That scamp. So let's just do it. Let's get through the pain, Gibbon, of talking about Donkey Kong. because this is what people are tuning in for, let's be honest. The Donkey Kong rumors, and it's just inescapable. It is all-consuming. The last time it was this bad was, I mean, I don't even remember. I guess Donkey Kong Country Returns back in 2010, and even that was just a couple of days before E3 where the rumors really kicked in. This has been a month solid of the general gaming world talking about Donkey Kong. We've lived with these rumors for a lot longer, but they were just low key back then. Now they're everywhere and inescapable. So let's talk about. I mean, there are several rumors now. In fact, and I don't.
Yeah, actually,
I don't know. I can only speak personally to this first one, the one that we have been tipped off about for a long time now.
That's the only one I really have much personal knowledge about.
We will address this other rumor that's going around, but I can't put any stock into it because I haven't been told anything about it. Donkey Kong EPD. The Donkey Kong game being made internally, Nintendo EPD by a Nintendo EPD team or a new Nintendo EPD team. We're not really sure. It's been leaked to DK Vine and other places for a while now, and now everybody's talking about it. What are the chances we see it at this E3? Mitchell just said he thinks we will. Mitchell's going all in. Me personally, I'm going to be a lot more wishy-washy here. I think it's a 50-50 chance right down the middle. And is that me trying to cover my ass? Maybe, but it's more me just trying to keep people's expectations in check, because there's one thing that's really stressing me out about this, and it was stressing me about it when the news broke, is that I'm already seeing this sense of fatalism setting in the community, that if we don't see it at E3, it's not real, it was never real, it was all hoax. And then I see some other goalposts, like July being the point of no return, because July is Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary, his birthday. And if we don't see it announced in July, it just couldn't possibly be happening. Because it's like the Banjo-Kazooie 20th anniversary stuff, where we tend to think, and Nintendo really ruined people's perceptions, like the Crash Insane trilogy really ruined people's perceptions about how things are supposed to be. Nintendo, with their stupid Mario anniversaries and their stupid Year of Luigi, they just completely broke the fandom's brain. Now, I say that, and I'm not saying it's not going to happen where Nintendo won't acknowledge Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary, but they will because they have a new game in the works, and they're like, this is good timing for marketing. The same thing they did with the Year of Luigi, where it was just, we have a bunch of Luigi games happening coincidentally at once. Let's lean in on that and make it a marketing thing. So it's silly to have these goalposts. I believe the game is happening 100%. I have no reason to disbelieve my sources. Everything I have been told by Dave Throat has been true or verified later on. So I don't really see why this would be an outlier. I know there's always going to be naysayers, and I know people are, they expect the instant gratification, or they just they veer completely in a different direction to, I think, protect their own emotions about it. Like, oh, if it's not happening at E3, then I don't want to believe in it at all because I'm just going to be disappointed with every Nintendo Direct.
That's not protecting your emotions. That's disallowing yourself to have good emotions, because you're just filling yourself with bad emotions instead.
I have seen a strain of cynicism and dourness in our community that I haven't seen since the buyout era.
Those aren't strong enough words. It's just abject nihilism.
Okay, but I haven't seen this nihilism in our community for a good solid 11 years.
Somehow nihilism has returned.
Oh God.
I don't want us to go down that route. So I think there's a good chance we'll see it at E3. I'm not going to lie. When I say 50-50, I might be underselling it. But I know Nintendo. We've all been let down by Nintendo E3s in the past. So I don't want...
Nah, I've always been pleasantly surprised by Nintendo E3s because I don't go in with expectations.
I'm from the perspective, like, it's kind of hard for me to be disappointed if we don't see a game that we kind of know exists.
Yeah.
At this presentation. Okay. Like, it's not like if we don't see a Donkey Kong game, I don't know when it'll be before we see another one. It's like, no, we would just... No one's coming eventually.
Okay, but Cameron and Gibbon, we are... I don't want to say we're in a privileged position, but...
No, we're absolutely in a privileged position.
I mean, as far as greater societal factors, yes, but I mean as far as Donkey Kong stuff goes... No, I mean,
I'd argue we are still in a privileged position. Like we know people.
We literally have privileged information
we
just
do.
Because we've elected to share it.
We do, and we've elected to share it, and this is where we've stepped in it because now people are taking our privileged information and building little fiefdoms on it, and I don't know how strong those foundations are as far as the timing.
It's been crazy watching information get extrapolated out, like just off of stuff you said in that conversation episode you did.
I tried to parse my words so hard.
Where you were trying so hard to be like, please temper your expectations, and everyone's going, look, he said the thing.
This thing is, we don't know for certain that this thing will be one thing or the other. It will be this one thing
and the other. We're getting both.
Well, now we're already getting into we're getting like multiple Donkey Kong game territory. Gibbon, like this is already.
Oh no! I mean,
according to
people,
this, some of
they
this
can't.
Stuff, sorry, I'll let Gibbon go.
Yeah, do we to bridge into the next rumor a little bit? People seem to have a really hard time with the concept that multiple games from an IP might be in the works at the same time, unless it's Mario. They don't have any problems with believing that Mario is getting everything at the same time, but there is a rumor that has popped up that a different Donkey Kong game is in development, and I just immediately saw everywhere going, oh, this is the new Donkey Kong game people were talking about. Fuck,
we
might as well go kill myself.
We've reached the point that a dubious rumor has grown to kill the original, substantiated rumor.
Yeah. So
and they're not even compatible rumors.
I'm going to circle back to Donkey Kong EP.
Yeah.
We're not done talking about that.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead and address this. So according to a random Reddit post, and this is where
we all know how reliable that
is. This is what kind of chaps my ass. Like we've got sources here at DK, but we can't share our sources because then we would burn those sources and they would no longer be sources, nor would they have jobs. But we all have sources, plural, and now just and maybe anonymous Reddit poster has a source too. I'm not discounting that, but it's being on the inside of this rumor bubble and seeing stuff on the outside. I'm just like, no, you don't understand. It's hard. It's hard being a Donkey Kong journalist. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and as Gibbon said, we're seeing the same sort of creep of assumed information with this rumor.
Yeah.
It seems like it starts with a very vague premise and then dovetails into the very specific, this is the one Donkey Kong game that exists.
All right, so the Reddit rumor, which is what we'll refer to, and I'm not going to read this verbatim, I'm just going to give the bullet points. This is a game being developed by Bandai Namco. Remember Namco? Using the...
Yeah, they put out Dark Souls.
Yeah, okay. But they were using the DK bongos, or the new patent for bongos for the Switch that was filed a couple years back. Do you remember that story? When Nintendo filed a patent for essentially DK bongos. And we were all like, well, that's weird. But we weren't like pulling out our hair either. We're like, that's curious. And a lot of times Nintendo files patents just to shore things up. Like, oh, we might want to use the bongos at some point on the Switch. We better file this patent. It could just be housekeeping. You know, it doesn't have to portend that, you know, a new game. It doesn't have to be, oh, they're absolutely doing Donkey Kong 4.
Yeah.
It's just...
And in Nintendo's position, it's understandable because they've been met with so many patent trolls over like the components in their controllers.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, this new DK Bongo securing patent was like in conjunction with a sort of blanket and whatever peripherals we might want to attach to Joy-Cons sort of blitz.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think we all walked away from it thinking it was just housekeeping. But now this has resurfaced, because of course it has. And if this is just a hoax, if this is just somebody trying to troll, bravo on them for using history and not just inventing stuff wholesale. But the rumor is that this would be a crossover with Taiko no Tatsujin. More
commonly used to be referred to in the West as Taiko Drum Master.
Okay. It would be a game, essentially Donkey Kong X Taiko no Tatsujin : Jungle Jams.
Yeah.
With basically, it sounds like a hybrid between Donkey Konga and Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Platforming segments and boss battles. And that's, of course, got... I am proud of the DK Vine forum for keeping their shit together and not immediately descending into 2004 anarchy. I am proud of all of you for not descending to this barbaric state where we're clubbing each other with our dusty old bongos. I think that okay, so this is an effective rumor though, because this sounds exactly like the sort of thing Nintendo would announce. Like this is the kind of out of left field.
Oh yeah, if without the context of what we know, this would be very believable to me.
I don't even want to discount it.
And I don't even necessarily think it's not believable. I think the things people assume about it are not believable.
Taiko no Tatsujin has put out a bunch of Switch games. They put out that 2-pack with 2 of their JRPG rhythm game hybrids a while back, which are adventure games within that format. And they've even done some crossover stuff. You can play as an Inkling in the Switch Taiko no Tatsujin main game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very believable.
It is believable, and it's kind of the thing that Nintendo would announce where nobody was asking for it, nobody was hoping for it. But of course, it's a game that gets announced, and of course, from outside the bubble of privilege, people are taking this to mean there is no Donkey Kong EPD, there is no Donkey Kong platformer or adventure game in the works. He's going back to bongos, and all is ruined.
Everyone knows there can only be one Donkey Kong game in development at a time.
That's the part of this I reject out hand, because it's not like Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle didn't stop Mario games from getting made.
But Mario's
the exception.
Yeah, Mario's allowed to have... Mario and Zelda are allowed to have multiple titles at once. Donkey Kong only can have one.
Just imagine. No, we're already doing Cadence of Hyrule. Breath of the Wild 2's got to come off the table.
I'm down with that. Cadence was pretty rocking.
So
no shade on Cadence. Just that's the absurdity of, like, one is clearly a spin-off that is another studio handling the property.
Yeah. Actually, Cadence of Hyrule lends some credence to that as well, because there was a report that in the wake of that, Nintendo was looking into maybe doing some other rhythm game collaborations with people. So, yeah, there again.
And please do. That sounds awesome.
So I just wanted to reiterate that we DK Vine's inner circle have not heard anything about this until this Reddit rumor popped up.
We've heard as much as you have.
So we're not discounting it. We just haven't heard anything about it. And we also have the privilege of having information that says, well, we know this is in the works over here. So if this game is real, it's in conjunction with it. And then you got the thing where I was talking about earlier, well, hey, we've got multiple Donkey Kong games in the works. Let's do Donkey Kong's 40th anniversary right. And then it even begs the question, are they even going to reveal anything at this E3? Or is it going to be in July? Are they going to time it for the 40th? I don't think that would necessarily be the case. But if we don't see anything on Tuesday or before, then I guess it would just be Tuesday. Yeah, because here's the thing. Bandai Namco has a presentation later Tuesday after Nintendo's. Mm-hmm. So,
and they're almost certainly going to be talking about, like, Elden Ring. So
they are. It's on the E3's media site right now. They are advertising. Because I followed them after this rumor. I was like, well, just cover my bases, and that's what they're advertising as far as like what they're really showing off. But it's possible. We don't know anything about it. We do know Donkey Kong being developed internally at Nintendo is a thing. So this would have to be in conjunction with that. My biggest fear, the doomsday scenario for the community is not if no Donkey Kong games get announced, but if they decide to wait to announce Donkey Kong EPD and they announce this instead. And then that is the fire that we will not be able to put out. That is...
Yeah, I'm just going to claim the forums finally broke. And sorry, nobody can post.
Everybody. Blah.
So, let me address the doomsday situation. If this happens, I want people to be prepared if this crazy scenario happens, which I don't think it will, because I think Nintendo's going to be tactical about it. They know, like, they don't want to derail any potential hype that's already out there. If that does happen, be okay with it, because we have something better coming. And that's dismissive of this game, but we have something more in line with what you would want as a mainline Donkey Kong console game.
The really wild thing about this is that the description of this game, like, as like kind of credible as the idea sounds like if you had to make up a game to piss off like the community on DK Vine circa 2005, this is absolutely everything you would do. But like seeing it all laid out with this, I would really dig this actually.
Yeah. No, this sounds like a really rocking game. I think if Taiko no Donkey Kong gets announced, they absolutely also announce Donkey Kong EPD formally at the same time.
So Cameron and I...
a Samus Returns scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
Cameron and I just did a conversation a few weeks back about E3 2001. Like, multiple Donkey Kong games and Donkey Kong Universe games the same E3. Magical, right? We brought up briefly E3 2004, which was another situation like that, but one that wasn't as warmly received. Just because the main Donkey Kong game, the main thing, was a thing that didn't have any fan service. It was Jungle Beat, right? Mm-hmm. And King of Swing had all the fan service, but it was just like, this would be kind of flipping the situation a little bit. The main thing would be the thing we all kind of want if what the rumors say are true. So this would be kind of a do-over of E3 2004, just done properly now, at least as far as DK Vine is concerned.
As the one Jungle Beat defender on the internet, hey, fuck you.
Hey, I defend Jungle Beat too. It just took me a long, winding path to get there.
I'm biting my tongue to say anything about how people reacted to DK King of Swing.
I was positive from the start, Cameron. I can't speak to editorial interference from my vision, but that was my take. Was DK's King of Swing? I'm all right with it. It looks pretty sweet. I also defended Coconut Cracker, so you know what? I don't want to hear it.
I'm still kind of salty we never got Coconut Crackers.
Oh, it's Mr. Pants' better, Gibbon, but I defended Coconut.
No, I liked the isometric pre-rendered stuff they had going on there. I know why they changed it. I'm just a little disappointed with the final art direction of the game.
You mean purposely shit art direction?
I wasn't gonna say it.
So, yeah, DKEPD. I mean, that's what everybody is looking for. Other rumors. We didn't even mention the amiibo. Like, there's like supposedly this rumor states that this game would have a certain mode locked behind amiibo. So it's not only like preying on Donkey Kong fandom's fears, but also trying to piss off the people who are pissed off about the situation with the Zelda amiibo.
That part does feel like indulgence in let's make something up to piss people off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I personally don't think the Zelda amiibo thing's that big of a deal. If you were complaining about, say, the fusion suit in Samus Returns being locked to amiibo, yes, that's completely justified. The Zelda thing's meh.
It just seems like it's they know what they're doing. Sort of like the Kevin Callahan rumor knew what it was doing with except in Kevin Callahan's case, it was hitting all the things the fandom wanted to hear and really revving people up. So
Mario plus Rabbids do the math.
Man, we really... E3 rumors for the DK community either go all in or on the tier of Chunky Kong's going to be an assist trophy.
Remember how excited we were about Chunky Kong maybe being an assist trophy?
Yep.
It's the most I think I've ever believed in something that in hindsight was extremely easy to make up.
Because nobody in their right mind would create a Chunky Kong hoax, Cameron. That was our thinking. It was like, this is airtight.
Like, and multiple people are corroborating this, so like unconnected to each other. So it's weird.
Multiple people corroborated Star Fox Grand Prix. So
true, and I've always thought that one was bunk.
I've seen that been brought up on the forum as a no, we can't. I know DK Vine says this is coming, but we can't trust leaks. Remember Star Fox Grand Prix? I'm like, oh no.
I wish we could really get into everything we know. Like, I know I've said I've said everything about the game that I know, but as like why we know everything, there's always more to the story and why we're so sure. It's just this is not Star Fox Grand Prix, people. Now let's go all in. Fuckers, let's go all in and say 3 Donkey Kong games are going to be announced. We're going to get our Year of Luigi. We're going to get Donkey Kong RPG by Camelot. They're not going to do a Golden Sun after Mario Golf Super Rush. They're going to do Donkey Kong RPG.
But is it a pure RPG, or is it Donkey Kong Hockey with an RPG single player?
I would be happy with either one, quite honestly.
That's fair. Yeah, same.
That would be a good place for the Snowmads to be slotted into the franchise going forward.
Yeah. And I didn't just pull that out of my ass. DK has a hockey game on Game & Watch, so there's precedent.
Well, I'm glad you're here, Gibbon, because I did want to ask you, with the 40th anniversary around the corner, something cheap they could do. When I say cheap, I mean budget-wise. Would be some sort of arcade revival. Now, this has never really piqued DK Vine's interest, but do you think we'll see anything at all from that realm of the Donkey Kong series?
So, normally I would say probably not, and if they hadn't already cleared up the rights and done the arcade archives of Donkey Kong, now would be a good time to release it. But with the recent trend of doing stuff like Super Bomberman R Online or Pac-Man 99 or Tetris 99 or Mario 35, I could see something along those lines. I could see a Donkey Kong 99 or Donkey Kong 75 or labeled, appropriately off of one of the levels. Something like that. I could totally see happening, actually.
Yeah, I could too. Now, I think we if we do get some sort of Donkey Kong Anniversary Direct later this year that ties in the theme park and everything, I could see that being a good way to pad that out. And that's, again, it makes me sound dismissive of the arcade era, and I'm not trying to be but that would be a budgetary title they could just throw in and be like, okay, So I wouldn't necessarily think an E3 announcement. If we get a glut of DK stuff that's timed advantageously, then yeah, maybe. But let's go back to Donkey Kong EPD before we move on to some other areas of the DKU and Nintendo. Do you think the game will be announced on Tuesday? I want both of your honest opinions, and I know I'm being very measured, and I just feel like I want to get a head count of where everybody thinks we're at going in, so we know if it's okay to be a little excited or to just dismiss it outright. Because Mitchell got me excited.
So they specifically said they will only be talking about software that is releasing in 2021.
They said mostly 2021. They left a little wiggle room.
So yeah, I don't know. Unless it's like almost done and it's coming out within the next 3 months, I don't know. They could. I have no idea what Nintendo's going to talk about at this thing, honestly.
Breath of the Wild 2.
I don't know. No, I don't even think, because they did that mostly 2021 thing. So I think that was specifically hedging against stuff like Breath of the Wild 2 or Splatoon 3, stuff that's not coming yet or isn't ready to show. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to be like, what, 40, 45 minutes long?
Yeah.
They could go over a million things, or they could go over one thing.
40 to 45 minutes long doesn't sound long, but you could pack a lot in there. But then if they just go, I remember E3 2015 when they had absolutely nothing to show except Star Fox Zero. Like they had like mini documentaries after announcing a game, and like Miyamoto took this wistful walk through like the park, and he was like, "This tree really makes me think." And it's just like, what? You're wasting time. We could get to Diddy Kong Racing Wii U by now. What's going on? So
yeah, like, and as we've brought up multiple times already this episode, the pandemic happened.
Yes.
So like, just. Yeah, I don't know.
Everything is an unknown because the pandemic happened. And as I brought up the other week, Japan hasn't really gotten it under the same level of control. I use control loosely, that some other countries have. And
yeah, Japan's just really not doing well with that. Like, Kojima was on one of the announcement shows yesterday, and he mentioned that he hasn't been vaccinated yet.
Yeah.
So... like,
if schlubs like us,
Kojima, you keep like accidentally predicting these global disasters.
He talked about that actually. He's like, I didn't expect it to like happen so quickly. So I think I need to
write a self-insert that just ends up totally fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he talked a lot about how he needs to rethink his approach to his next game.
Yeah, if
and it's like, please use your gift of prophecy for good.
If schlubs like us can be vaccinated, but worldwide treasures like Kojima isn't, then we've got a problem. We've got a problem, folks.
But yeah, I do think we'll likely see a Smash announcement.
Oh, absolutely,
from Nintendo,
absolutely. But you're dodging the Donkey Kong
That's really
question.
the only. That's the free space on the bingo card. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm in the same position as you, where it's like 50-50. They could not.
Yeah.
It depends on how far along they are, how much they were able to work around the pandemic conditions.
So basically, like, you can hear it coming this year. We just don't know how far away it is because we're in this open space and sound carries really far.
I am sitting 50-50, I think, also, and I know that's a disappointing fence to sit on. I will say a very selfish thing that I've been thinking about in the back of my head. If a new Donkey Kong game gets announced this year, we find out it's coming by the end of this year, part of me will be a little bit disappointed that we found, like, just a smidge in the back of my mind, a little bit disappointed that we learned about this big game announcement in a year where there's no physical E3, because you just know that there would have been some like elaborate, crazy, like physical Donkey Kong like display on Nintendo's show floor at E3.
I would feel worse about that, Cameron, if we didn't have a big physical Donkey Kong display coming to Universal theme parks around the world. So, I mean, I take your point, and you're absolutely right, but it's not like we won't get to walk around the Congo jungle within the decade. So,
fair.
True.
Very fair.
Yeah. Gibbon mentioned Smash Brothers, so I feel like this is the next part of the discussion to get to.
Speaking of segues.
Yeah, so I'm a good podcaster. What can I say? I know how to keep things moving when I want to. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. We're winding down the second Fighters Ballot. Fighters Ballot. Fuck. Fighters Pass. So I was thinking about what K. Rool smells like, and my brain was just going back.
Imagine if they announce a second Fighters Ballot.
A third. Oh, second Fighters Ballot. Yeah. What? Yeah, that. Oh God, that would just.
It never ends.
Poor Sakurai. He's talking about retirement, and Nintendo's like, nope, back to work.
Yeah, that was I think a misinterpretation of what he said. By the way, I think he was talking about retiring his column in Famitsu, and it got spun out of control.
I feel like Sakurai's always been spun as being on death's door, the physical.
He literally showed up on an IV in one of the presentations.
If he announced he was retiring, I would think, yeah, you deserve it. Just you're good, man.
Yeah,
you've given so much. Please just take a break.
After Smash Ultimate, he deserves to be put out the pasture. The nice rolling field. No, that's a good thing.
A nice farm upstate.
That's a good. No, a real pasture with rice rolling meadows. That's a good thing. So, got 2 more slots left on this Fighters Pass.
Yeah.
So let me just be the bearer of bad news right now. I don't think Dixie Kong will be on this in this last 2. Super Mario Brothers 35th anniversary didn't procure us any new Mario characters in the DLC, so I don't think even if we have a storm of Donkey Kong coming our way, that Dixie would have been selected by Nintendo to be put in this game.
I would say this, and it's not to disparage Dixie in the slightest. I think she's maybe in my top 3 Donkey Kong universe characters. So I understand the full weight of what I'm saying. Dixie Kong is not an E3 caliber reveal.
Yeah. Should be a Donkey Kong Direct caliber reveal, but that's just me being completely fanciful.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily know if the remaining fighters have to be E3 caliber reveals. I think there's a good chance they even announce both of the remaining 2 at E3, and that's the E3 caliber reveal. We know both of the remaining characters.
Yeah. See, I think they're going to save one. I think we're going to get one at E3, and then they're going to keep the other one for when they need to generate some hype. I think they're going to save that for one of their own directs down the road later this year.
So here's something I've been thinking about, and I feel like I may not have an answer myself, but I'm curious what you both think. I feel like there's been rumors that the Fighters Pass lineup has been shuffled a little bit. And a lot of people, I think the suspected scenario is that Steve maybe needed a lot more fine tuning before they were ready to announce him, and they had slotted Byleth in their spot. And I would think that would make a lot of sense, because it would mean that the Fighters Pass, if you swap the places of Steve and Byleth, the second Fighters Pass potentially up until this point will have been entirely either characters Nintendo owns, or at least in part owns, and characters from third-party franchises that were already involved in Smash. So, do either of you think that pattern is going to hold for the remaining 2 fighters?
I do, actually. that's just sort of the vibe that Fighter Pass 2 has given off. And I had heard some rumblings about Byleth being shuffled in for something else that I hadn't necessarily heard that it was Steve, but just something that either wasn't ready or some deal that wasn't like done yet or something. I don't know what it was specifically. There was a lot floating around in the air. But yeah, that'd make sense. Especially since the second Fighter Pass, like they weren't initially planning on doing it, if you take their word for how things played out. And so having like not needing to talk to new people about negotiating stuff would make a lot more sense for the second Fighter Pass. So.
Yeah, and I stress I don't think that's disappointing by any stretch. I thought Sephiroth was cool as shit.
Fuck yeah.
Like, it's just, I wonder if that's the consistent theme. I'm prepared for that to be the consistent theme, and it's a cool consistent theme. I'm just wondering if that will actually be the case, or if there will be some oddball, out of nowhere, new third-party surprise.
I mean, you're disappointing a lot of Crash Bandicoot fans right now.
Well, they've put in some oddball Mii Fighter costumes that are new collaborations. Yeah. So I think the Crash costume from the promotional ads would actually be perfect inclusion.
I would love that. Just
that would be so apropos.
Absolutely. In some ways, it might even be better than just regular Crash.
Yeah, I have like no more to say really, because I got my two most wanted fighters in K. Rool and Banjo-Kazooie, because like I wanted Dixie. Obviously, I think Cranky deserves to be in the game. I think Funky at this point deserves to be in the game. But given the disadvantageous place Donkey Kong and the DKU in general was starting from, not even getting any new characters in Melee or 4, I think to get the two craziest picks that would mean the absolute most to the different areas of the fandom, K. Rool and Banjo-Kazooie were it. And we got them.
Yeah.
We defied the odds, and we got them both in the same game. One of them in the core game, one of them is DLC, both having a thematic link between their trailers. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So at this point, I just hope whoever the fighters are make the most amount of fans as happy as those two made me.
Yeah.
Because, if it was Dixie, I would feel, like Cameron and I have talked about this quite a bit. If it was Dixie, I would feel apologetic. I would feel like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, fuck that noise.
No, I would celebrate.
You don't apologize to anyone.
I would celebrate quite a bit, and then I would feel bad for celebrating and offer my sympathies to the fan bases left out in the cold. Because I know what that feels like.
I wouldn't. All these whiny bitches. Nah, fuck it.
Wow. All right.
I'm so tired of Smash Discord.
No, I'm ready for Smash discussion to be at an end. And I said that when 4 was winding down. But
I wouldn't be at all surprised if they were like, we know the Fighter Pass is over, but there's going to be one more! Because just like it never ends. And you can't get off
here's
of
Mr.
Mr.
Thing,
Bones' wild
we're gonna have one sharpened stick, and you're all going to have to fight over it. I don't like what Smash does to...
It'll be a Smash Battle Royale, and you have to pick one spirit from the game, and whoever's left standing at the end gets in the game.
I don't like what Smash does to the respective fan bases. I don't like what it did to me once upon a time. So which
is a shame, because it's just a nonstop flow of really cool shit.
Yeah,
the next Smash game is going to be murder, because there's no way in hell they bring back all the 5 billion characters in this one. So it's just going to be an endless parade of like who's getting culled.
Here's the thing: I'm just hoping they somehow just port Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I don't feel like
pull a Street Fighter 5. Just string this one along.
Yeah,
for a decade.
I was going to say like make Smash Ultimate into like the new Street Fighter 2.
I'm fine with that, because you can't mess... For me, this game is perfection. This is my favorite Smash. don't mess with it. Just add to it. You know, if you can, that would be great. All right. Well, moving on, Smash and the nonstop political campaign that it entails. Let's move to some lower stakes. A lot of rumors about a Super Mario Party sequel, which, I mean,
I'd be down. I really, really liked Super Mario
Party. I liked
it
too, but do we need a sequel? Like, does everything need an immediate sequel?
Immediate sequel, it's been a few years, Hyle.
I only question, well, didn't it literally just come out in Japan?
Wait, what?
It just got that big update where, you know, you could actually play.
Yeah, it did just get a big multiplayer update. I just feel like that'd be a good gateway to actually like give the game some DLC it desperately needs.
There you go. Super Mario Party DLC. I am on board with that. I'm not on board with just a whole new sequel because hey, I lived from 1999 to the late aughts. I remember annual Mario Party releases. I'm good. You've delivered a solid Mario Party in Super Mario
Party. It's
Party.
been 3 years since it came out.
3 years, what? That means nothing in modern game development. Like 3 years is a blink of the eye. 3 years.
Yeah, I don't know where I got that release date thing from. I am way off.
It essentially came out again because that was random too. Like, why did they update the game after this long? So that makes me think a sequel isn't in the works, but maybe DLC. I could see DLC. It's weird.
I could see it being an argument for a sequel in the works if they were adding online to it as a way of figuring out how to do that.
Maybe.
For the end, yeah.
But
at the same time, I'd much rather they just kind of update the existing game with more content because it's got a really, really solid base. I love the new gameplay modes in it. And I ran out of things to do in it in a day. Like,
what if we get Donkey Kong Party? That is the sequel. Or it's like
played on the Taiko no Tatsujin drums. Oh.
Well, speaking of DLC, is there any chance we're going to see Mario Golf Super Rush DLC before the game even launches? Announced?
Did we know about Mario Tennis DLC before it came out?
So, with the last Mario Tennis, we found out Diddy was coming to the game, I believe, at the tail end of E3 week. So, there's precedent.
Well,
there's precedent.
It's possible then.
Yeah. I know Diddy is going to be DLC or a free update rather, because
Pauline's already in the game, so I'm fine.
I mean, good for you. I unlocked Party Time.
Good for me.
Hey, I unlocked Party Time Pauline in Mario Kart Tour the other day. So
fuck yeah! I want you to know that after listening to that conversation, I reinstalled the game because y'all made me want to give it another shot.
I hope you enjoy it.
I've got a. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was gonna say, Mario Golf Super Rush is in a weird spot for me because it's like the first time in a long time I've looked at the roster for a Mario game that didn't have Diddy on it and still thought, like, this is a really solid collection of characters.
Because it isn't just fluffed with babies and Koopalings.
No babies, no like Mario characters filling out the periodic table. It's like it's Pauline, it's Charge and Chuck. It's Charge and Chuck, the character who should have been in every single one of these spin-off games from the beginning of time.
I feel the same way about Brash Bear, friend.
Brash, Hyle's bear friend.
That hopefully I'll see lots of Brashes and Bazaars and Bazookas and Bachelors tomorrow morning. But you know, right after my bear hike tomorrow will be the Ubisoft's presentation. So do you think the very first reveal will be a Mario plus Rabbids sequel?
I don't know about the very first reveal, but I think there's a good chance of us seeing something, yeah.
I mean, as far as like DKU or DKU adjacent games go.
Right. There's no room in Hyle's brain for anything else.
No, I'm a zealot.
Sure.
I kind of wish that this Mario plus Rabbids like rumor didn't surface, not just because I like if it is in fact happening, I feel really bad for Davide Soliani and everybody else who got a game leaked fucking twice.
Well, this isn't the first quote unquote leak about a Mario plus Rabbids sequel. There's been rumblings going on about it for a while. So
the reason the other reason would be because I feel like it kind of cuts off speculation of what other things Ubisoft could be doing with Nintendo properties, because Mario is not the only one they have fiddled with. In recent history.
That's true, but like they announced they did Mario plus, was it Mario plus Rabbids and Starlink in the same show, or was it Donkey Kong Adventure and Starlink in the same show? Like one after the other.
I feel like it was Donkey Kong and Starlink in the same show, because I remember that was the year I wasn't physically at E3, and I think I saw both of them at the same time.
So like, it's entirely possible they do a new Mario plus Rabbids and another collab in the same like breath. So, because they've done it before.
Is possible, and Starlink and Star Fox, as far as I know, was not something that was leaked ahead of time.
Yeah.
But I'm basically just in the back of my mind, like saying, please just give Ubisoft Star Fox again. The little taste of what they did with it was
Starlink
so good.
is so good. It's so good.
Just let them do with Star Fox whatever they want. Make like Starlink, but it's just Star Fox. Like, I mean, hell, muddle the two things that you already did. Make Star Fox plus Rabbids. That's my pitch. Star Fox plus Rabbids.
I want to see Pepe looking at a rabbit and being like, "What in the Sam Hill?"
That would be amazing, and that would be the unexpected twist of the show. Like, I made a joke. Imagine if we don't get Donkey Kong at this E3, but we get Banjo-Kazooie. So imagine a world where we get Banjo-Kazooie and a DKU Star Fox game with Crystal and everything.
Yeah,
but no Donkey Kong.
Ubisoft gets a Star Fox follow-up, and this is where we get our fucking Star Fox adventure.
I'd be down with that. Grant Kirkhope doing the score.
Rabid Crystal.
I've been talking about how Starlink would have been a great place to slip Crystal in, because she comes from somewhere else.
Cernia.
And you just,
Yeah.
Starlink kind of, it carefully walked a line so much in a way that, like, it didn't step on any toes as to whether or not, like, Star Fox Zero was a new continuity, or could you just slot this in the old one?
Yeah, there's references to Star Fox Adventures in Starlink.
References to the Nintendo Power comic.
Yeah!
It's wild.
It's so good. It's the sort of deep pulls we live for at DK Vine.
I'm fairly convinced that whenever we get a new Star Fox game, that it, assuming it's not just another remake of the original Star Fox or Star Fox 64.
It will be. That's all there's room for in Miyamoto's head.
If somebody other than Miyamoto does it, then they will walk that line where Star Fox Zero will nebulously be just this adventure that happens either concurrently or in place of Star Fox 64, but the later games will be referenced. I don't think they'll write those off.
There are certain things in Star Fox Zero, like, that would make games after it kind of impossible if you take the continuity. Like,
there's some stuff in the
1-to-1 to the letter.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I could equally see Nintendo not giving a shit about that.
That sounds about right. Yeah. Well, unless anybody has anything else they want to bring to the table, I would say those were our E3 previews and predictions and wishes and wants and desires. Yeah.
I know you said nothing from Platonic themselves, but what are the odds of seeing a Platonic character pop up in a cameo capacity in something else during one of these shows?
You know, I would love to see more on Clive and Wrench, on any of the Platonic Friends games that may or may not have explicit characters crossing over. But I haven't heard anything about them appearing on the show. I have searched the E3 site looking in my media capacity, looking for any hints that anybody's going to be presenting, and I haven't seen anything. But who knows? Because they don't have to do it through E3. They can do it independently, riding the wave, given the nature of E3 this year. So,
True.
Speaking of characters like appearing in another game, I just realized we kind of blew past a big one. What about potential new Mario Kart?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would be kind of about time for it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know.
It's we had it on the docket. It's the kind. I think the way I best sum it up is I want it to happen. I don't think it's going to, and that is like the pessimist in me, because I just so badly want a Mario Kart that, like, I feel like advances the formula and has a really character roster I like, and I feel like it's only been one or the other for a very long
Mario Kart
time.
8, but with the roster of Tour.
And the costumes of Tour.
Yes.
And there's so much in Tour that I would just love to see imported 1-to-1 in a new console Mario Kart. But I don't know that they'd ever do that, because I don't know if they'd view it as yanking away the unique appeal of Mario Kart Tour. But at the same time,
the appeal of
as
Mario
I understand it,
well, the appeal of Mario Kart Tour is the unique way it plays and doing the tricks and the, like, I don't know if the unique appeal of Mario Kart Tour is Pauline with glitter in her hair.
There's nothing to stop it from being the unique appeal of Mario. Kart.
if you can have pink gold Peach, you can have Pauline in a party dress.
Glitter in her hair, Pauline. That's the character's name on the select screen.
Yup.
I was content with Mario Kart 8 and now Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, except for, I think, the somewhat shoddy character roster. So, like, my fear with the new Mario Kart game, Mario Kart 9 or whatever you would call it, would be that it would revert in some way to, like, the more broken gameplay of your Double Dashes or your Mario Kart DSs or your Mario Kart Wiis. And I just want something more in line with Tour's roster. Not necessarily Vampire Mario with his head in a pumpkin, but which is another character that I did not mention on our Mario Kart Tour episode we recently did. But maybe, at the very least, the unique characters that are in there that are not in Mario Kart 8 in any iteration of that, such as your Diddy Kongs, and yes, your Dixies, and your Funkies, and Birdos, and it feels so complete in that, like, basically everyone is in there, and then some. So I want that with the gorgeous graphics of Mario Kart 8 and the more balanced gameplay. But I don't know if Nintendo would see any need, because look how well Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still selling.
Yeah, that's the thing. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still selling amazeballs. But on the other hand, Splatoon 2 is still selling amazeballs, and they're working on Splatoon 3. So,
I mean, that you could make the argument, well, they put Tropical Freeze on the Switch, so why would they make a new Donkey Kong game? And that would render the entire thesis of this episode invalid.
That's another thing I've seen from fans a lot, is like, oh, well, we already have an entry in this thing on the Switch. Nintendo is now, like, it's against the law for Nintendo to put out another one. We have to wait till the next console.
And like, similarly to torpedo my own sense of pessimism, like I mentioned, worrying that they wouldn't carry over features into, like, a new Mario Kart that were generated in Mario Kart Tour. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp exists.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well,
New Horizons does kind of borrow a lot from that.
I guess, to sum it all up, we don't know anything. Except that there's a new Donkey Kong game in the works. We just don't know when we're going to see it. That's basically the only thing we can definitively say, hey, that's happening. But, yeah.
We don't know anything. We can't give you any useful information. This podcast has a shelf life of less than a week. We are truly sorry.
I mean, a lot of this stuff will be irrelevant within hours after it goes up. So, I mean, this is the fruit fly of Kongversation episodes. So enjoy its beautiful life while you can, people. But we are going to be here all week long. Like I said, keep following DK Vine, social media, dkvine.com. Everybody on staff's going to be pitching in here or there. You two already have. Thank you very much. And we'll be back vis-a-vis the Kongversation on Sunday for the big Xbox showing. Unless they show off, I don't fucking know, Star Fox plus Rabbids tomorrow. And then we will actually probably reconvene for a special episode just for that, because why wouldn't
Star
we?
Fox plus Rabbids, Donkey Kong Planet Adventure.
Divided by Banjo-Kazooie.
See you then.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.